Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from. This is Dr. Bada Khalifa on the Scholars Table. So today we've decided to move a bit from public health into an arena of engineering. I went to Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and then I was fortunate to meet some of the talented students from Ghana who are currently at Georgia Institute of Technology. And if you don't know Georgia Institute of Technology, they are one of the best engineering programs you can get in the US. So I was quite excited that I was able to meet these students. I thought I could share their journey from Ghana, from senior high level to the university level, and how they got multiple offers, multiple scholarships to study PhD directly from their bachelor's at Georgia Institute of Technology. So today I have Michael Boateng, who was a student at Ashesi University, who is currently a PhD student here in the US. So we'll have the opportunity to learn his story and then take some advice. All those who are planning to also take a similar path, you may find this interview very productive. So let me invite our guest and then we'll get the program started. All right. So, Michael, good to
Yeah,
see you again and welcome to the Scholars Table.
thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, I remember when I saw you guys 2 weeks ago. I was really excited. I didn't have much time, but I decided to stick around and wait for you guys, and your journeys were quite inspiring. I know most students, most senior high school students, once they are in the science class, all they are thinking about is doing medicine or doing something health
Mm,
related. So I thought it would be a very interesting conversation to have you guys come on, also share your journey, give us a bit of something that is quite different from the health sciences, and also to serve as a motivation for students who are in other fields of the sciences. So thank you for joining us today. So, can you tell us a bit about your early life, educational background in Ghana, and how those experiences and decisions, have shaped your interest in engineering in particular?
okay, thank you so much, Dr. Banda, for having me. Like I said, very happy to be here. So yes, if I'm going to take it back a bit, I would say, um, during my high school years, I would say that's like my form four, form five, form six, like around that range. My dad really took an interest in my education in the sense that he really wanted his children to like have a very solid background in mathematics and physics too, as well. So he's also an engineer by the way, but he was so yeah, dad really enjoyed like mathematics and physics. So my sister, my brother, and myself, he would literally wake us up at 2 a.m. and tutor us,
Hmm.
make sure you get the math concept. Sometimes mom will wake up and then she'll be like, guys, I think maybe you should go to bed. And he was like, okay, that's what you say, but when you're successful, you really see. So it was those kinds of like fun moments in my early childhood I remember that really helped me grasp mathematics and physics concepts and enjoy math and physics. So then he tutored me at home, like I said. Then I was able to go to New Nation, which was like one of the top ranked schools in Ghana if you want to study like A levels. So
Okay.
I went there and then I studied, yeah. So I went there and then I studied A levels. I did math, physics, chemistry, and I was so happy to be able to pass through with all A's. So through that, I think my confidence only continued to increase. During my time there too, I was the head prefect and ultimately the valedictorian for my class. I think all those moments really shaped who I am today, gave me that sense of focus, direction, diligence, and confidence, I would say. So that's a little bit about my early experiences, coming to love engineering for what it is.
Okay. So you didn't, or your dad or your parents didn't quite let you go through the traditional senior high school path.
Yeah.
Why? What was
So I did,
what was their main reason? Like, I know you would
yeah.
probably see your mates going to Presec and Chimota and Prempe and all those things. Why didn't you take a similar path? Why the A level path?
Yeah, I got those questions a lot, especially when I went to university, because I was surrounded by most people who went to like, senior high schools and like government institutions. They'd ask me that a lot. I think my response is somewhat synonymous to something my father would say, which is like he saw that the British curriculum was very robust in
Hmm.
terms of the things and the learnings and the gains from it. Like he
Okay.
was really bent on making us understand that even though that path was slightly more difficult and even some might say expensive to us, well, he found it in his heart that he should like really take us through because when we come out, we are better people for it. And I started to see that during my undergrad. Sometimes we do some projects and some friends would be like, oh no, this is not how we were taught in our school, but it looks like you're doing it very well. So all of that, I feel like it reaffirms everything he did and everything we believed in him to do. Yeah.
So you didn't miss those national science and math quiz and all those things?
Yeah, yeah. You see, people talk about it, and I'm a bit lost. I'm like, huh? I remember my first year in undergrad, and I was like, huh? And I came to like, what's that? And then they'll make fun of me, like, oh my god. I'm like, this guy, come on, you don't know anything. And there's so much energy surrounding it, people cheering on their high schools and stuff. But no, I would say, taking on the British curriculum, it's more introspective. I feel like you get to learn a lot of things. But still, definitely, I think the SHS is um, from the government institutions to teach a lot. I was just happy to find myself surrounded by like very intelligent people when I went to college from all over the world. So I'm just happy for
Okay.
higher learning.
Yeah. So, so during your A level education, right? How different is it from the typical senior high school programs? I know, like senior high school is 3 years. How long did you spend
Yeah.
in at the A level?
Okay, so A level is actually 2 years. A level is, I would say, what you need to be able to enter into a university. So
Okay.
it's like our version of WASI.
Okay.
It's like our
Okay.
version of WASI. Yeah. And some might say that the BEC, our version of it is the IGCSE.
Okay.
Although you will notice that some people can actually enter into university with the IGCSE alone. So I think, it creates a certain standard for the British curriculum, I feel. But yeah, so A level takes 2 years, and during that 2 years, you get to pick a maximum, or typically the average people would pick is three subjects. You need to
Okay.
pick three subjects. So I picked math, physics, and then chemistry. Now, for each of these subjects, too, you have to take 5 papers in each of them.
Mm-hmm.
So chemistry, I had to write 5 different papers. Physics, I had to write 5 different papers. It's only math, I had to write 4 different papers. So each of the papers are more different from the last. So you get to learn a lot. I remember math is pure math 1, pure math 2 and 3, statistics, and then mechanics. So
Okay.
by the time you get to university, like your background in math should be fairly strong. Like you can pass
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
board.
This is certainly quite different. Very different from the WASI
Yeah.
experience. Okay, so so during your time in the school, were you involved in any science clubs, any competitions at that level, before you even went to the university?
I would say most of them were clubs, but they were like after school clubs. There weren't like official ones like I see in the SHS, like the government institutions where, you know, they have specific clubs because they are really big schools. They have specific clubs. They invite people over to come and give presentations and stuff. No, it's not really like that for us. It's more like you're taking your different courses. Um, there are leadership positions and leadership roles in the university, same as with the SHS. But for clubs, it's mostly after school. After school,
Yeah.
we get together, there was some science club, chess club, soccer club, stuff like that, but not really much like we have in the SHS or
Okay.
the other institutions.
All right. Okay. Okay, so this is quite interesting. I know a lot of people are more familiar with the senior high school route. So once you've decided to take the British curriculum, was it very difficult getting into a university, or it's also as easy as doing an doing S WASI and then applying to Tech or Legon or the other mainstream schools.
Yeah, I would honestly think that it makes it a lot easier. You see, I know each university has specific requirements for entry,
Yeah.
but you would notice that for the A level, yes, you notice that for the A level grades, they expect. I remember Ashesi wanted 3C, and no, it wanted from 3H to 3D. So you see that gigantic leeway a person has. It just means that they know that that curriculum is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So you allow that leeway. But I remember for what year, I think it was like A1 to B4. I'm not sure, but it definitely
Yeah.
was more on the high side, you know what I mean? So I feel like it definitely gave us that leeway, and I was very happy. I remember when I went to show them my results, they were like, "Oh wow, A levels and you're able to get these results, so definitely like you should come and study engineering here at Ashesi." So definitely, I think it gives you lots of confidence, and people are willing to accept it a lot, especially in Ghana
Okay.
because of the standard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good to know. So, I mean, so why did you? I don't like you wanted to do engineering, but why did you decide to go to Ashesi and not, let's say, KNUST or Legon or some other school? Why Ashesi?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good question. So I think Ashesi, in fact, has a very strong um, engineering track, engineering background. I feel like the lectures were because I remember when I was in high school, they came over to give a presentation about what Ashesi is and its curriculum, especially in engineering. And I found myself drawn to the school because they do lots of practical things. And I feel like that's where even me, my research is heading to this. Like I'm a very practical person. Like we designed so many things. I remember in my first year we did a weather station. We used so many electronic components. So I know I'm sort of answering the question in advance because I've gone through Ashesi and it's
Yeah.
like, why Ashesi?
Uh-huh.
But no, I know I didn't make a bad choice. Very good choice because we learned so many things in terms of practical engineering design, which is
Yeah.
very, very important.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I learned it.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because once you decided to do engineering, engineering is a little bit more practically oriented. So you would
Yeah.
want a program that would give you that practical feel. And I'm beginning to think that Ashesi provides that level of, you know, practice that you might not get in the mainstream. So in your class, typically, how many students were you in class, in your engineering class?
So Oh yeah, I think overall engineers for my year were like 80, 80. Yeah. That was electrical, mechanical, and then computer. We were
Okay.
like 80 students. But of course, if you look at the different engineering fields, maybe electrical, we were like 30, somewhat. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So which of the engineering parts did you take?
I
Uh,
think electrical, yeah.
electrical engineering. Was there any
Yeah.
particular reason why you chose electrical engineering?
Um, I think for electrical engineering, I just thought it to be like one of the most famous branches. I didn't have a good reason for selecting it. Maybe it was inspired by the cartoons I was watching. I don't know, man. Like, terrible answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean it's yeah, it's good. Uh,
but yeah, and also my dad was a big motivation for the path that my sister and I ended up taking.
mhm.
He told me that electrical engineering is like the future. So many things are based on electrical engineering. And even here in my lab, they do lots of bioelectronics, wearables, and you can just see the different paths that, you know, electrical engineering can take. And so I feel like it was a bit more at that time a gut feeling.
Okay.
I didn't regret taking electrical engineering.
Okay, okay. So, I mean, I've gone through your profile on LinkedIn, and I was quite impressed at the competitions you've gone to, the things you've designed so far, even at the undergraduate level. Can you walk us through some of the things you've done whilst you were at Ashesi, the designs you've made, the innovations you've made with your team, the competitions you've gone to, and all that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that. it's one of my most proudest moments in Ashesi, like the competition that we went to. So it was in France. I think that was October of 2022. We went to France for it was a synthetic biology competition, but they needed like someone who worked on electronics to come on board on the team, and that was me. So I was able to be I was assigned to be co-captain. So we went there and there was like different schools all over the place. Harvard was there, Cornell was there. I remember feeling so nervous, like, wow, we actually belong here with this class of people because they were very, very good, very, very intimidating, I would say. So we designed for that particular team. I was surrounded by very, very intelligent people, great people, um, and also a very good principal, investigator too as well in the form of Dr. Elena Yosta. So the work we did focused on um, gold detection in the ground that would resolve the many problems that um, miners face when trying to get gold underneath the ground. So we had a biosensor that will be able to be sprinkled on the surface of the ground and to be able to detect the presence of gold at a specific area. So
Mhm.
no need for disastrous land degradation and excavation. Just spray it over the surface and it glows a certain color to indicate the different presence of gold. So that's the competition. And maybe let me talk about one other project that I did. So for my final year project, I designed um, an automatic meal dispensation system for
Okay.
household dogs. So
Hmm.
it's supposed because I have lots and I know some people do too, have lots of the boa bulls and those international esque dogs.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to give your dog food, water, medication. It was supposed to cool the food. It was supposed to store the food, and it was supposed to eat and mix the food. So several layers in the design,
Okay.
and it took lots of programming languages like HTML, C++, and I was happy that Ashesi was able to post that video. And it really gave me lots of I mean, TTFM was posting it. We saw so many different Joy News was posting it. So it got me lots of recognition in the country, and I think that also eventually spearheaded my PhD applications. I'm sure, and I know I did it. I don't like put the link inside
Yeah.
my statement of purpose.
Yeah.
Like they'll go and check it out and be like, oh, this guy is doing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things that just very practical skills for
Hmm.
anybody who wants to do engineering.
So when did you complete Ashesi? When did you graduate from Ashesi?
Yes, I graduated in 2022, please.
2022. Okay.
Yes, please.
And then right after graduation, you decided to go for a PhD. Uh, what inspired you to pursue a PhD at such like a very early stage, and why did you decide to
Yes.
actually take the US path?
Okay. So I would say after graduating, I just knew that I honestly enjoy learning. I enjoy the process of learning, just becoming better and better every day. Even though I struggle with some things most of the time, it's more like that's my passion. I just want to learn and get better at practical engineering design. So being taken through that Ashesi path, when I graduated in 2022, I became a teaching assistant, a research and teaching assistant at Ashesi. And during that time, that's where I began to realize that if I want to take the path to be able to, study, get better, the US will be the best place for me because of the advancements in technology and other things like that. And what comes with a direct PhD mostly is it's fully funded. So that was also really helpful in shaping um, my ideas towards like selecting a PhD because most of the PhDs, especially in the US, are fully funded. If it's your choice to do a master's, you can still do the direct PhD and end up mastering out if you would like to do that. So I honestly feel like it was a combination of my idea towards wanting to pursue my education after this in a high-end research lab. That was definitely one of the reasons. And the second one was most of the PhDs are fully funded, so it gives you that great leeway to be able to apply and get accepted and get funding. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So once you decided that it's you wanted to do your engineering program in the US, what schools were you thinking through, or what schools did you apply to?
Yes, I applied to some high-end schools that I felt like were very good in like practical engineering.
Hmm.
Georgia Tech was one of them. University of Pennsylvania, Northwestern University was one of them. Um, yes, and then a couple of others too as well. But I think off the top of my head, those are the ones I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, how is the application process like? I mean, for someone who, for example, has finished his undergraduate program in Ghana and wants to, you know, go on and pursue either a master's or a PhD, right from the undergraduate level. How is the application process like?
Okay, so I would say the first step in the application process would be definitely gathering your documents, so statements of purpose, CV, letters of recommendation. Um, yeah, I think those are sometimes to personal history. For some schools, they want your personal history statement. Those are some of the documents that most of these US schools need. So when you get those documents now, it's up to you to look for a group that is doing research in something that you are interested in. And so once you do that, you can apply to these schools. But sometimes it's more important to really reach out to the faculty members and try to get their attention and say, I'm doing stuff here and my work is synonymous to what you're doing. Maybe not entirely, but it's synonymous, and I have the background to to be part of your research lab. And it's a lot of growing experience. Sometimes you can join a lab and it's like there's a lot of things to learn, but still you have a certain foundation, and I feel like it's good. So you reach out to the faculty members, you organize your documents. Usually, if you get a positive response from the professor, that's a great thing, and you are more confident when you're applying.
Okay, all right. So was it a requirement for you to identify a supervisor or would say an advisor before applying for the program?
For Georgia Tech, it was not a requirement. Actually, I did get in, but I was funded by like a TAship, graduate teaching assistantship.
Okay,
But then later on, like whilst you're in the school, it's very easy to look for an advisor afterwards.
okay.
Um,
Hmm.
usually applications will be, I mean, the postings will be made to your emails and like who's interested in joining this research lab, and you apply, and maybe after an interview, after speaking to people in the lab, and then you can join them. Yeah.
Before we even move to the specifics of the application, uh, is a program fully funded in terms of like tuition, stipend? Is everything covered?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So, among all the other programs you applied to, I mean, which ones did you get into?
So I got into University of Pennsylvania, definitely Georgia Tech, Northwestern University, and finally University of Virginia.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And all those schools were prepared to provide you with funding and stipend, right?
Yes, most of them had like generous offers, but they were ranging like
Mhm.
perhaps 30%, 40%. So, at the end, it was a decision I had to make to consider the one that would evidently give you the most funding opportunity, and also the one that is closer to your interest too as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I know you've made mention of your statement of purpose, your CV, recommendation letters, and then getting in touch with supervisors or advisors. That also is helpful. Can you walk us through how, I mean, for someone looking to do a PhD in engineering, what are the highlights of your statement of purpose?
Okay, I think for the statement of purpose, is really a lot of it has to do with the kind of story that you are telling. I feel like you can have something very meaningful that you want to say and you want to get across, but you have to be able to express yourself in a very unique manner that will grab the attention of the people that are reading your statement of purpose. And so it falls on you to be able to do that. So I remember in my own, mostly, and they'll tell you, and that's what I did, to start with a very engaging story, right? You have so many projects, you have so many different things you want people to know about you, but now the story is important. The story that you're crafting is important. So write your own story in the best way possible. I think that's the overall arching theme of the SOP. You have it's more like it's your CV that you are writing in a very engaging way with a great story behind it that will attract people to want to read it and buy into what you are selling. Yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of recommendation, did you get all your recommenders from Ashesi, or you got other recommended from other places?
All three of them were from Ashesi. I remember two of them I made it more academic focused. So two
Mhm.
of them were faculty members that have taught me in the past. And the last one was more because I used to work at the career services office at Ashesi. So the last one was more a supervisor role, like someone who has seen me work and knows my work ethic. So I was selective in that regard. So two that are academic, we know that he can do the work,
Mhm.
and one that is more like supervisory role, like how is his demeanor for work? How is he like? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so apart from these requirements, did you have to write any specific exam like GRE or anything like that?
No, most of them. So that was one of the things. Like, I knew I didn't have enough time for that 1 year period. So I targeted schools that didn't require GRE or TOEFL or
Okay.
specific examinations. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. Good. Um, so, during the application process, were there any particular challenges you faced, or were there any instances where you think if you had to do the process again, you would slightly change certain components?
Yes, yes. I would say um, mostly it was like not hearing back from some faculty, right? You've tried your best to send them a very engaging email, but some of them don't get back to you. I think that shoots your confidence down a little bit. Um, Moving into your other applications, you're like, I didn't get responses from one or two, so I don't think the others will respond to me as well. So I guess if I could do it again, I would start very early. I would reach out to promising labs that I feel like this lab is doing work that I really, really enjoy. And then so that you can get accepted as soon as possible. Because that I feel like is the most important part of the application. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You've successfully gone through the process. Now you are in the US. Is this your first time in the US?
Yes, please.
Okay, and you came in at a time where when the weather was cold, right? So
Yeah,
so how are you coping with the winter? I know Atlanta is not very cold, but I mean for some
yeah.
coming from Ghana, it's too cold for us. So how are you coping with the cold?
Yeah, it's honestly very cold. Like you said, relatively, right? Relatively
Yeah.
to Ghana. I think Ghana the temperatures will be like maybe 27 degrees, 24. But now you're heading here and it's like -3 degrees on some days, and it's like oof, very very cold, very very cold. Sometimes I remember one day our heater wasn't working too properly, and indoors was so cold, and it just stunted like our what's it called? Our productivity. It's like you feel like, oh, I need to just lie down and just hibernate. But no, I think it gets better. It gets better, and also knowing how to dress too is very important. So with all of that, I think it makes it best.
Okay. So are there specific like meals or foods that you've identified in the US that is currently becoming part of your of your
Yeah.
of, of your delicacy, or you're still eating Ghanaian food?
um, I I mixed it up a little because I'm happy to say that the church that I attend here is like mostly Ghanaians.
Okay.
There's a nice culture there. I remember when it was Christmas time, and then church elders invited us to their house, mostly watch it jollof, like you're seeing things to eat.
Yeah.
It's very,
Yeah.
very exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I think other than that, usually what I've been eating a lot of, maybe I'm not too proud of it, is pizza. Like, I had a lot of pizza. I had a lot of that.
Yeah. I
But
mean.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
but still, my roommate is also Ghanaian too as well.
Okay.
We meet him in a bit. That's actually Jude. Um, he does so much of the cooking too as well. He can cook different kinds of Ghanaian meals. So
Ah.
yeah, still yes. When you talk to him, you find out. But still, it means like we are all still in the loop. We all still get to eat those kinds of foods from day to day, and it's a fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. Um, but let's talk about your specific research interest. So currently, what are you focusing on at Georgia Tech? What do you intend to get from this PhD program?
Yes, that's a very good question. So currently I'm in a biosensors lab. So it's predicated on most of the things I did in undergrad in regards to PCB designing, electronics interfacing. But then there's a lot of other stuff I also have to learn as I go. So for example, I did lots of sensors and designs, but it was not related to bioelectronics most of the time. But right now, that I'm trying to bridge the gap between those two, and so that's mostly what my research is focused on now. So health patches that can detect different sweats from athletes and be able to predict the kinds of meals or regiments that they should be put on. So it's a combination of a lot of things. Wearable electronics. So for example, the Apple Health watches that you're seeing, all the different components that go into it. I have to like learn and understand and be conversant with that so that my research can really take off. And should my research really take off, that means I'll be in this kind of field where because wearable electronics and things pertaining to people's health is very important.
Yeah. Hmm.
As you would probably agree
Yeah.
with, yeah,
Hmm.
pertaining to health is very important. So you know, how would I be able to contribute to the health industry? I'm not someone who is like well into pharmacy or something, but it's more like using the electronics knowledge to bridge the gap, and that's what I'm doing currently in my lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting, and that seems to be where we are going. I mean,
Hmm.
developing sensors that can even detect sugar level, blood pressure, and all that
Yeah.
in the future. So that is really a very intriguing place to be. But in general, how do you compare your experience at Georgia Tech with your experience at Ashesi? I know Ashesi is good, but in terms of faculty relations, student diversity, and the kind of resources you have, how do you compare those experiences?
Yes, I would say that Georgia Tech is definitely more challenging than Ashesi was, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah, the classes mostly really intense, but I think with a good support system, with good folks around you, you can definitely um, get better and get your grades so that you can continue to develop. With regards to like diversity and stuff like that. Surely there are more, sorry, there are less people in the field that would look, like me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Most of them are, American or maybe Asians too as well, because they are really like taking control of the field. But that's why you should be excited to know that you are one of the few, and you have to get that confidence to get your work done. It may not always feel like it, but you have to be confident enough to go out there every day and just say, "Hey, I'm here and I'm here to get my work done,"
Okay.
and learn from them too as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So for someone, let's say a student at a senior high school who is interested in maths and physics and things all the way to the university level doing engineering with the aim of exploring options beyond Ghana, what advice would you give to such students?
Yes, I would advise the students honestly, if I could do so, I would tell them that focus on your craft. Like make sure you um really have an interest in the area that you want to delve into. Don't just pick it because like that's what's hot right now. It's more like know your affinity for it, know that you can match up to the challenge, and then get a lot of confidence in your undergrad. Do lots of projects so that you know how the field will be like once you begin to do things in that field. And when you feel your confidence growing day by day, you can take the charge and be like, okay, I want to do grad school. I want to do projects, more projects relating to this. And I think that path, the administrative board will see it and they'll be like, okay, I think this guy, this girl really has what it takes and their track record proves it. And we can take a chance on this test. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that seems fair. Before we go, your final words, and also, your future plans. Put them together, and then give us your final words.
Okay. I've never been one to talk too much, I think, but I guess I would say, um, okay, for the future, I hope to be able to advance in my engineering program and in the field. Certainly, there are lots of challenges, lots of restrictions that are preventing people like me from being so successful in the field. But I'm very confident in the fact that I'm surrounded by good people. My family has given me that push. All of them are eager at home. They call and they always find out how I'm doing. So I'm very happy with that. So if I could advise other people, I'd say get a good support system. Um, Work on more practical things so that you know you get the feel and sense for it, and always believe in yourself. It may seem bleak from time to time, but believe in yourself, and yeah, that's what I think. God bless
Yeah.
you all. Yeah.
hmm I think that is such a profound statement. And as you said, support is one of the most important aspects of the academic journey, right? Shout
Yeah.
out to your parents and your dad, waking you up at 2 a.m. to teach you maths and things. I mean, that really
Yeah.
has a significant impact on especially your interest and what you become in the future. So kudos
Yeah.
to all those who have shaped your life, and thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story. I'll continue to be in touch on LinkedIn, and also, personally, if you have problems or any issues, reach out to us. We are a huge Ghanaian community here in Maryland as well. So, I mean, anytime you are in town, let us know and we'll wait. So, take care and have a nice evening.
Bye. Bye.